This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com. By the way, at 9 p.m. Or 10 p.m. Eastern, I'm interviewing Ross Hart, Bret Hart's younger brother, about the passing of Leo Burke, who passed away recently. Canadian wrestling legend, wrestled a lot in Stampede Wrestling. Ross attended his funeral along with Bret. And we're going to talk all about Leo Burke's career. But let's get to the news. Raw featuring the Wyatt 6 did a 0.62 rating last night for the SummerSlam Fallout. That's a good number. I have to say, with this Wyatt 6, I mean, the production values on it is great. I'll give it that. To me, it's like people that could never really get over put in a group that they're going to get over based on production values and the death of Bray Wyatt. That's all. That's what it is to me. It's not like what did Eric Rowan do during the time he was not in WWE? Did he make any waves on the independents? The girl that used to play the superhero was always cringe to me. Uncle Howdy, although he seems like a great person in his interviews, could never get over Dexter Loomis. At one point, they released him. And I'm not really that familiar with the other guy that's from NXT. But to me, I mean, it's working. But that's the reason why I'm just not into it for whatever reason. But I'm not taking anything away from it. Rampage and Collision each did their lowest numbers ever in the history of the show last weekend. Rampage 0.07, Collision 0.08. Now, for people that are going to make excuses, I mean, I'm not saying that the Olympics didn't have some contribution to these ratings, but keep in mind, Raw did a 0.62. SmackDown did a 0.6. Those are not bad numbers, and those are not much different than normal numbers. The Rampage main event was Private Party versus Eminem Collection. So it's like they're not all these people that are making so much money. It's like, why don't they even try to make Rampage or Collision better? It's like they don't even try. It's like, we're just gonna make these they're so far down, I wouldn't even call them B shows. I would call them C and D shows. I would call Collision a C show and Rampage a D show. I mean, they just put zero star power. Sometimes they'll tease star power a bit with Collision, but overall, there's not much star power on these shows, even though they have all these people under contract that they have to pay anyways. And they got other guys that are legends that they don't even put on TV. So it's boggling to me. And as Dave Meltzer talked about in Wrestling Observer Radio, they had the Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes win the 6-man titles as part of and these are the Ring of Honor 6-man titles for whoever. Not that anyone ever cared about those, but the whole point that Meltzer was making is like they had the Von Erichs win titles on the Ring of Honor show that doesn't even air on TV. And it's like the Von Erichs and Dustin winning the title. It's kind of something that people talked about and was fairly newsworthy, but it's like you put it on Ring of Honor, which people don't even watch, and it doesn't even air on regular TV. There's just some weird decisions. Apparently, there was over 50,000. That's been confirmed in SummerSlam. There was legitimately over 50,000 there. Biggest gate ever for a non-WrestleMania show. Nobody asked about the Shane McMahon AEW rumors in the post SummerSlam press conference, which would have been a good question. Apparently, WWE is thinking of taping Raw on Sundays after international events. That way they could get international pay-per-views, that is, rather than wait and film them in the US on Monday. That would make sense. Then you could do a Friday SmackDown, have a good hot crowd, Saturday pay-per-view, Sunday Raw on a good crowd. And honestly, I don't know how much difference it makes if it airs live or not here and there. One thing I will say about these international shows, and it happens in the US too, I don't mean to offend the people that like doing this, but all this singing along to songs, they do it even more internationally, and it's, to me, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm sorry, I just don't. I think it's geeky. Me being the coolest person in the world thinks that singing along to wrestlers' songs is geeky, and I do like various wrestlers' music, especially the old school ones. But I don't know. To me, there's just too much of the fan sing along stuff. But I don't mean to offend you if you like it. God bless you if you like it. Apparently, Penta and Phoenix's contracts are running out soon in AEW. They might go to WWE, where they would probably do better in NXT, but they would not make as much money in NXT as they are in AEW, unless it's a special contract. They're both getting older. I mean, there's a couple, I've met them in PCW Ultra. There's a couple matches of Penta on this channel. I believe Phoenix too. I wish them the best. I like them. Ricky Starks is not being used by AEW. He hasn't been used in months. Apparently because they wanted him to turn babyface, and he refuses to turn babyface. And rather than just fire him, they keep him under contract until his contract runs out. Apparently he's good friends with Cody Rhodes. To me, you make so much money in AEW, and as someone that's worked regular jobs all my life, you just do what the people say. For anyone that's ever worked, paid me to wrestle anywhere, no one can ever say when they've actually paid me that I've never done what I've been told. I always do what I'm told. It's in situations where I have collaboration agreements and I'm doing them favors, and they want me to do stuff that makes no benefit to me and I'm not getting paid for it, where I'll refuse to do it. And then I sometimes get that reputation. Oh, he doesn't like to do this. He doesn't like to do that. I'll do anything if you pay me. But if I don't know how much Ricky Stark makes. I heard the minimum in AEW is 150 a year. If someone says, hey Hannibal, we want you as a babyface. Yes, sir. So I don't know. To me, I mean, friends with Cody Rhodes or not, if I was in the office of WWE, I'd be like, this guy doesn't do what he's told. Why would we want him? Mike, I don't know about Rick Martel. He's a weird guy. I would say never in wrestling. I think one of the issues with AEW is Tony Khan wants to do everything himself. God bless him. It's his money if he wants to do it all himself. There's tons of smart people on their roster and behind the scenes, and legendary wrestlers that could definitely, if he were to take Rampage and say, Jake, or even when they had it, let's say Jake the Snake and Jim Ross, those two don't do much for AEW. Okay, they rarely use Jim Ross. Granted, he's got health problems. Jake the Snake, I don't think he's done anything since his last contract. Jake, Rampage is your baby. Let's do something with it. I would personally do that, but whatever. It's just not going to happen. Someone says singing songs is cringe to him as well. Maybe it's because I don't like most of the songs, but I saw someone post today. Oh God, I hope they still use Edge in some capacity at Wembley because I just want to hear the crowd sing his songs so badly. And I'm just like, what the hell? What has wrestling come to when the best part to fans is hearing the fans sing wrestlers' songs? To me, that's just not entertaining at all. But for instance, for Edge, I mean, he's not doing anything. He's a smart guy. I mean, he's injured. He could still appear, though. Put him in charge of Rampage. Let him book it. To give, like, sometimes even Bill Watts said it. Like, when he burnt out as a booker and he had to hire Bill Dundee to come in and book Mid-South, and he popped Mid-South. Because sometimes you just need a fresh person to come in. But to me, they just have so many great minds under contract, and I don't know why they just don't. It seems like they don't care at all about Rampage. I mean, it's a show that more people would watch if they put some effort into it, but it's always full of no names. So why should we watch it? But for instance, if you're paying MJF $5 million a year, if you're paying Mercedes Moné $4 million a year, paying Okada and Will Ospreay $4 million a year. Why aren't they ever on Rampage or Collision? I think there was a promo from MJF on Collision that aired that was filmed somewhere else. But to me, it's just like the amount of effort they're putting into those shows is reflective in the ratings. It's not like they're putting in a great effort to get those horrible ratings. If the crowd would all sing "They're All American Boys," that is a different story. I agree on that. So maybe it's just that I have different tastes in music, but the modern day cowboy, I fully agree on that. So check out my interview with Ross Hart about Leo Burke in about 5 minutes.